To celebrate the 20th anniversary of the Power Pros franchise, Konami's made a new mode, Power Pros 2016. This one I've got highlighted. This is called the Powerful Festival, and what it is, it's a single elimination tournament that you can play over and over again even if you get defeated. And the goal is all these characters you see on the screen, you want to beat them, and when you beat them, they get added to your team. You're trying to build up a team of all-stars. And that's in addition to your created character that you always have and your sidekick that you always have. So I'm going to go ahead and start it up and just show you how this works. I thought at first it might be a little too difficult to translate, but it's actually pretty straightforward. There's not too much to it, and it's something, just a quick mode that you can play when you're taking a break from the season mode. So here we are on the main menu, and if I go down to the bottom option, it's going to show all the items I have available to bring into the mode. Some of these can be tough to translate. Of the ones that I have, the only one that I actually know what it does is this bottle up here, the green bottle. And what it does is, if I use this during a game, it will restore all the stamina of a tired pitcher. I've tried translating all these others, but I can't get a good translation from the Google app. So the next one I'm going to use is probably going to be this one right here. Other option is going to bring us into our binder. These are all the characters that we've unlocked just by playing this mode so far. This one right here is the commentator, and you can't actually play as him. He's just somebody that you come across in the story. This is the sidekick Yabe. Again, he's one of the players that will always be with you. And then you have your created character. He's based on the 1994 Power Pros game for the Super Famicom. Other ones I've unlocked, this is just a third baseman. These are two pitchers, another pitcher. This is the best pitcher I have, Tachikawa, and I definitely use her every time I can because I believe it's best to have a pitcher as your rival character in this mode. This is another character from Tachikawa's team. I don't know what her name is. I only used her once and she wasn't very useful. She's really only good at hitting the ball, and her speed and defense are terrible. So I usually stick with pitchers when I'm trying to pick my character for this mode. This option is grayed out. This is if you have a save file, then you go ahead and hit this and it will continue from your save. If you don't have a file, you just go to the top and it will start it up. The first screen is going to ask you to enter the name of your player. The one on the very bottom is going to be your first name. The one in the middle is going to be your last name. And this one's going to be your nickname. So we'll start with the first name. And if you go down to box number 3, this is going to bring up the English characters. It's got uppercase at the top. You scroll down a little bit and it has the lowercase at the bottom. And once you got all that stuff filled out, you can go ahead and hit OK, and it's going to ask you which of these names you want to use as your nameplate. This is what appears in the field, in all the menus, and all the cutscenes. I usually go with the nickname, so that's where I'm going to select this time. Now it's asking us what is the handedness of our player when we're throwing the ball and when we're hitting the ball. It's got throwing on the left and hitting on the right. You may recognize these symbols from when I did the versus mode video. If you see that lowercase t with the rectangle underneath it, that's going to be right-handed. If you see the lowercase t with the sideways H underneath it, that's going to be left-handed. And then if you see that symbol kind of in the middle that looks like a swing set, that's to indicate that you're a switch hitter. So what I usually go with is I go with right-handed because I'm right-handed in real life. And then I go for switch hitting just to get the most benefit out of your creative player. Now it's going to ask us which position we want our created player to play. This is just his primary position. He can learn secondary positions. The top one's going to be pitcher. Next is catcher, first base, second base, third base, shortstop, and outfield. The way it works with the outfield, the game just automatically assigns you to any position. It's not like the show where you can only play maybe left or right field, but not be able to play center field. You pick the outfield in this game, you can play anywhere. So I usually either go with shortstop or I go with outfield. And since one thing to note, the sidekick that's always with you, Yabe, he's an outfielder. So I like to go outfielder because then that gives you two solid defensive players, and you really have a solid defense on fly balls if you pick 2 outfielders. Now it's going to ask us what hitting stance we want to use. There's a whole lot of these. The top one is just standard stances. You can see over 100 there. These are open stances, the second option. Again, almost 100 of those. As you go through the rest of these, there's not nearly as many. A lot of these are just kind of gimmicky. The one I actually like to use is very gimmicky. The number 5, it almost looks like he's holding a sword before he swings, but when he actually comes through and does the swing animation, it looks kind of normal. So that's what I go with most of the time. Now it's going to ask us what we want our base attributes to be modeled after. And if we go top to bottom, the first option is balance. That's going to give you a good even spread of attribute points in all the categories. The next one is contact hitting. The contact rating influences the size of your batting cursor. And this one is power hitting. If you want to have more power, that allows you to hit harder balls and get more depth on your hits. After that, we've got speed. That's going to affect your running when you're in the field as well as your running on the base path. Next one is throwing strength, and this is simply how hard your guy will throw the ball when he's in the field. Doesn't have anything to do with pitching. It's just when you're fielding. The next one is defense, and this just controls how quickly and how smoothly the animations play out when you're fielding with your character. The 2 player styles that I believe are the most effective for offense are probably the power hitting and the base running, the speed rating. The reason I say that, if you pick the speed rating, that's going to be one that's expensive to upgrade, so it's nice to have a good start on that. Also, with the speed rating, it boosts your trajectory to level 3 right off the bat, which is going to help you hit more fly balls. So speed is good, power is also good, just to give you that extra boost on an expensive category to upgrade. Another thing to note about these base ratings is they do change based on the position that you pick. So let's say you had an outfielder that was focusing on power, he would have different starting attributes than if you picked a shortstop that was based on power. Also, if you pick a pitcher as your player position, then that will change the options here completely. I'll show you those real quick. We'll go back and we'll select a pitcher as our player. And now it's going to ask us, instead of batting stance, it's going to ask us what kind of delivery we want to have. And as before with the hitting stances, there's just a ton of these that you can go through. I really don't recommend making a pitcher for your created characters because he's going to be so sorry on offense. So we'll just pick a random stance. And here are all the different styles. You see it's a little longer list than it was for the hitters. I'll go ahead and read these off. At the very top, again, we've got balanced. You just want a good even focus on your attributes. You go to the second one, it's going to be a boost to your throwing velocity, so you'll throw your fastball a little faster. The next one is going to be a focus on control. Makes it easier to time the shrinking circle if you're on the 2-button system for the pitching. And the next one's going to be stamina, so your guy won't tire as easily. Especially if you face teams who like to take a lot of pitches, this can be helpful. And the next one is going to be good slider. If you have a player who can throw a slider, he's going to have a good start on that. Then this one is for curveballs. The next one is forkballs. Then sinker. And I'm not sure what this last one is. The Google translation on it says good at shoot. So I'm not sure exactly. Maybe it benefits a pitch type. Maybe a weird pitch type that has a weird name. But for the most part, I think velocity is going to be your best bet on this. Either velocity or control. But again, I don't recommend picking a pitcher. I think you're better off just going with one of the fielding positions. Probably shortstop or outfield, I think, are the ones where you have the most chance to have an impact. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go to outfield. And then I'm going to get the crazy batting stance with the emphasis on power ratings. And now it's just going to ask us if we're okay with all these selections. And with all these cutscenes, you can just press the start button and skip right through them. And now it's going to ask us which item we want to bring in. Again, I said I wanted to bring in the soda, because that's going to help us. After we use one of our pitchers, we can restore their stamina. Now we're on the coach selection screen. And when you first start off, this one on the left is the only one you have available. Her name is Misaki. And you see there's 2 categories that kind of show what she does. We have a green category and a yellow category. The green one is usually abilities that affect your hitting or pitching. For Misaki, she has the infield hit, which means that you're going to have a good chance of running out infield singles. The next one she has is first pitch. First pitch means that you're going to have a bonus to your contact and power ratings until you get a first strike in the at-bat. And the last one she has is good versus left-handed pitching, which is pretty self-explanatory. You just get a boost to your contact and power whenever you face a lefty pitcher. In the yellow area, these are where it gets a little more complicated, and again, with the longer phrases it becomes difficult to translate. The Google translation of this says only support player assists the growth. So it's got to have something to do with the experience points that you receive after a game. I'm not sure if maybe you get more experience points, maybe more players on your team get experience points. I'm not sure what that does exactly, but regardless, Misaki's an okay coach to have when you start out. Definitely a decent one. The next one I unlocked, her name was Haruka, and the abilities she has are average hitter and power hitter. What those do, the average hitter means if you use the contact swing, you have a better chance of hitting a line drive instead of a ground ball. Ground balls usually end up being outs, line drives can squeak through for singles, and if you hit one into the gap, you can get an extra base hit. She also has, again, the power hitter attribute, which means if you use the power swing, she has a better chance of hitting a home run instead of a fly ball. Now looking at her yellow ability, again, it's kind of vague on the description. I translated it through Google and it says, go after the game, the items to begging. So what I take that to mean is that you're probably going to have a better chance of getting more items after you defeat someone. A lot of times when I've had Haruka as my coach, I'll get 3 items from the other team that I can use after I defeat them. So I think that's just a boost to the post-game rewards is what that yellow screen is. This third coach, I haven't actually used this one before, and her abilities are very difficult to translate, even for the ones that just affect your hitting and batting. The translation on those is Quick G, Losing Luck, and Goblin. I don't know what the first and third one does, but I do know what Losing Luck does. It decreases, every hitter on your team loses -5 power for the entire game. So I definitely don't see a reason to go with her, even though her yellow assist that she has is pretty good. The yellow assist drops the condition of every player on the opposing team, so that's nice, but when it comes at the cost of -5 power for all my hitters, I don't think she's worth using. I think, definitely you want to go with one of these first two. For the purpose of this demonstration, I'm going to go with Haruka. So now it's asking us, which of the rival characters that I've defeated do I want to bring with me? And if you look to the middle of the screen, you'll see there's 4 player slots total. 2 of them are blank, and 2 of them have a place where I can put somebody. I recommend going with pitchers. I think that's the way to go. I've leveled this pitcher, Tachigawa, all the way up to level 5, so for sure I'm going to take her. This guy is a pitcher and a hitter. He actually has a pretty decent bat. If I scroll through his attributes, you see he's got 41 contact, 43 power, 41 speed, 70 arm strength, and 62 defense. So he's a kind of a good utility player. You can use him as a pitcher, you can use him as a hitter, and he's going to play great defense. So absolutely, I've been going with him. Let's see what his name is. Okay, so it's Tanaka Yama. Didn't know his name. I have used him a couple times to see he's level 3. Each time after you play a game, even if you lose the game, you get experience points that go towards these players, the rival players. And some of them I haven't used. This is a pitcher. There's another pitcher that I haven't used. You see, I used this hitter once. She's really only good at that 58 rating. That's her power rating. She also has that blue special ability that gives her the chance of hitting home runs if you use the power swing. But if you look at her other ratings, they're pretty terrible. So that's why I haven't used her much. Only used her once. So we'll go with the 2 pitchers. And I think the more games you win, that's how you get more slots to bring people in. When you first start, you won't see this screen at all because you'll only be able to bring your sidekick Yabe. And then eventually I got to the point where I could bring in one of these rival characters, and then after winning more games, I got to the point where I can bring in 2. So if I keep winning games, I think eventually I have all 4 of these slots available to be picked. So that's just telling us that we're on round 1 of the festival. If you look in the top left corner, you can see it has the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds to the tournament. The farthest I've made it so far is the 3rd round. I just have a hard time generating runs with the setting that this game uses. I'll show you the settings real quick. On the game options, there's not much that you can change here. Second page is all grayed out. The 3rd page just deals with instant replays and cutscenes, and the one on the bottom is the defensive zoom for the camera. So none of this stuff really needs to be changed. You can ignore this. The main thing you want to look at is the control options. And we do have some things we can change here. This first one is analog swinging versus digital swinging. I prefer the analog. If you do put it on digital, then this second option gives you 5 different speeds that you can put the digital on. But personally, I think this is just too slow and too cumbersome to use. This one on the bottom is vibration for the controller. It defaults to on. I just leave it on. Moving over to page 3, we've got the cameras. This first one is the camera when you're hitting. I have it set to the offset behind the batter view. This is the camera when you're pitching, and I've got it set to the behind the pitcher view. That makes it look like a TV. Now this one that grayed out, I'm very disappointed this is grayed out. It's the assist level for your hitting cursor. They have it turned off completely in this mode, and when I'm playing the game, just in other modes like versus and season, I like to have this on at least level 2. Because I feel like the PlayStation 4 controller is just really sensitive in this game. I have a hard time keeping the cursor steady, and anytime you have to move the cursor, I feel like it just jerks all over the place. So definitely disappointed that this is locked out. I can see why they did it. They wanted to make this a difficult mode, and it does have leaderboards involved in it, so that's why it's turned off and why it's also locked. Page number 4, these are just the different ways you can throw the ball when you're fielding. The first option is going to have the face buttons, 1 face button for each base. So circle to throw to first base, triangle to throw to second base, and so on. The second option is if you want RBI baseball style fielding, where you just point the joystick at the base and then you press the X button to make your throw. I like to go with the face buttons. Second option is for the defensive shifts. This just displays basically how much information is going to be displayed on the screen. If you go with the bottom one, it's not going to display a lot of information. You go with the top one, it's going to fill a lot of the screen with the defensive shift stuff. I don't even use the shifts in this game, so I just leave it on simple. And the only thing you can change here, this is the type of pitching mechanic. If you have it on 2, there's going to be a circle that shrinks down when you start your windup, and the closer you get that circle to the ball, the better your accuracy is going to be on that pitch. If you don't want to mess with that mini game, then you can put this on the setting below, and it will randomize the control of your pitch instead of having it be a timing mini game. But I like to use the 2-button style just to add a little bit more to the gameplay. This option down here is just a help menu that's not going to actually be much help since it's all in Japanese. This one is actually pretty important. This is save and exit. So there's only one save file on this mode, and every time you want to exit, if you just close the application or if you just turn off your PlayStation 4, you eject the disc, it's going to lose all of your progress. So anytime you have to stop, let's say you won 2 or 3 games and you need to take a quick break, you got to come back here and you got to hit save and exit. Otherwise you're going to lose all of your progress. If I go here, I can see the items I have available for the next game. You can see I've got this snake soda all ready to use. This is a very important screen. This is where you level up your player. You'll get to do this before every game, so make sure you return here when you finish playing. So the first thing it's going to show you is your starting attributes as a hitter, and as I move down you can see up top that green rectangle is changing to show which category I'm highlighting. I'll go through these real quick. First one is trajectory. This is a 1 to 4 rating, and if it's a 1 it means you're going to hit a lot of ground balls. If it's a 2, you'll hit a lot of line drives. 3 is fly balls, and 4 is home runs. So you can see this one is pretty expensive to upgrade, and they start you out with a pretty poor rating. Next one is the contact rating. Again, that's just going to affect the size of the batting cursor. Then we have the power rating, which affects my ability to drive the ball into the outfield. Next we have the speed rating, which is going to affect how I move when I'm fielding and running the bases. Then we've got throwing strength, which again is only going to come into play when I'm fielding the ball and not when I'm pitching. You can see because I have a player that specializes in power, this rating is actually pretty decent at a 17. My defense is much worse. Again, defense only going to affect the speed and the smoothness of my animations when I'm out there in the field. As far as what actually affects the errors, that's this rating right here. The lower it is, the more chance you're going to miss the ball or throw a ball away. And these blue and green ones, I'm not entirely sure what these are. I couldn't get a good translation for them. But I think what they are is it allows you to learn a secondary position. The reason I believe that is if you look second from right, the character second from right on this is going to be the catcher symbol. The one second from right is the first base symbol. This one is second base symbol. This is third base. And this one is shortstop. So I think that's what this does. And if so, I don't believe it's really worth it. You can see it's fairly expensive to buy any of these. And you're really just better off putting your points into your base attributes if you have the hitter. What I usually like to do is I'll put as much as I can into power when I first start, and then I'll dump the rest into the contact since that's fairly cheap. And any leftovers I'll split evenly between the defense and the air. Now as I hit the left and right bumpers, let's go over to the far left first. This is the pitcher upgrade system. Top one is velocity, the one here is control, and then the last green one is your stamina. You see all these ratings are terrible for a hitter. If I was a pitcher, they'd be slightly better. And then these yellow boxes are different types of pitches that you can learn. So it's definitely a good idea if you're a pitcher to try to buy a couple different pitch types as you go along, just to keep the hitters off balance, because the AI in this game, they will pick up on any patterns you have with the pitches that you're throwing, as well as if you have any patterns in velocity or any patterns in location. So it's just good to keep the AI off balance by having a number of different pitch types. Now if I want to buy any abilities for my player, then I come over to the middle one. This is the pitching abilities, so not a useful tab for a hitter, but if you were a pitcher, the middle one is where you would buy any new abilities. This next one to the right is where I would buy my abilities as a hitter, and you can see most of these are fairly expensive. 30 for this one, 60 for this one, and then into the hundreds as I scroll down through the list. So what I like to do is I like to build up the base attributes first, and then once you have the attributes built up, that's when you come over here and start thinking about buying some abilities. These are less expensive, these green ones, because what these are AI tendencies. It's how the computer will use your player when they're controlling him. Normally in like a season mode or versus mode, these wouldn't matter, but when you play these games, a lot of the at-bats and innings are simulated, so these can actually be kind of helpful, especially if they're as inexpensive as they are. Now, if you want a full list of all these abilities, definitely get a bookmark on powerprotranslation.com. They have a full database for these green abilities, the AI tendencies, as well as the hitting abilities and the pitcher abilities. So I'm not going to go through any of them right now, but if you want to see the full list, definitely go to powerprotranslation.com. If we click on this option, it's just going to give us more information about our team. The first one is going to show our player, and there's nothing much to see here since we haven't played a game yet and haven't upgraded him. Option number 2 is going to take us to a view of our sidekick Yabe, as well as these level 1 generic players that just get randomly generated every time you open up the game. And then down at the bottom I've got my 2 rival characters that are both pitchers. I won't get into their attributes just yet since I'm going to show that on the lineup screen. This last one is just if you want to see your coach that you have equipped. I already went through her abilities, so I won't say that stuff again. So that's everything on the main menu. I think we're ready to go ahead and go into the matchup screen. And what I'm looking at now is just all the different opponents that I can play. You'll see the main thing you want to focus on is the meters. The meters tell you how good they are, going top to bottom. The top one is going to be their offense, their hitting. The next one's going to be the base running speed as well as fielding speed. And then the third one is their pitching ability. And fourth is the defensive ability. So that's what the bars mean. The other important thing to focus on is the number that's next to their pitcher. You can see 34, 30, 35, 38, 32. That's the level, the amount of experience points that you'll get for defeating them. And also it's just a general indicator of how leveled up these people are. This guy would be the toughest if I wanted to take him on. I've already unlocked this guy and already unlocked this guy, so there's really no reason to play either of those. If I'm going to play, I probably want to go after one of these two. You see they're similarly rated. Both of their weaknesses appear to be run speed. This one is a little better at defense and pitching. So I think this is what I'm going to go with. And another thing to note on this screen is you see those items? Those are the items that you could potentially win by facing this character. Again, because I have the coach Haruka, she gives extra items if I win. So even though it's only showing one item, I'll probably get 3 items if I actually come out ahead. Also pay attention to the speech bubble next to your coach. A lot of times there's helpful information that will tip you off to the skills of the opponent you're about to play. Like if you're playing a pitcher, she might give you a hint that says, hey, this pitcher's got a really good breaking ball. So I'm not going to translate it right now because I don't have my Google app with me, but I think that's what we're going to do. We'll go ahead and play this guy, and we'll see how it goes. And once I get to this point, there's no way to skip through the cutscene with the start button. You just have to hit either the X button or the circle button, and you want to be careful not to button through this too fast, because at the end of the cutscene is going to take you to the item selection screen, and if you button right through that, you won't get a chance to equip your item. So definitely take it a little slow on these button presses and make sure you don't hurry through them. Now since this is my first game, there's really no point in wasting this energy drink. Again, it restores the energy of a tired pitcher, so I'm going to save it for the next game. And we'll just go ahead and hit OK, and it'll take us to the lineup screen. The option on the very top is going to start the game. I don't want to do that just yet. These bottom two options, this one is just the control settings. There's nothing new that I haven't shown you here. This one is the game options. Again, nothing new to see, just the replay and defensive camera stuff. And here's the good one you want to look at is the lineup. Let's go ahead and set our lineup first for the pitchers. I'm going to make sure we have the best pitcher for this game. If I look at the conditions, which is the colored faces, I see this pitcher is in a negative condition. It's not the worst. The purple face is the worst, but blue is still pretty bad. Let's see, this is Tachikawa. She's my best pitcher, so I may have to go with my backup pitcher, even though he doesn't have as good a breaking ball. You see only 1 tick mark on his breaking ball down. He does have a decent fastball, 142, which is pretty close to Tachikawa, 141. She just has a lot better breaking stuff. I think I'm going to go with this guy though, just because he has that condition boost. The condition will just, basically it's a multiplier to the attribute. So I go with him as my pitcher, and I'll probably put Tachikawa at third base. I believe she can play there. Yeah, it looks like she has third base eligibility. So that's definitely what I'll do for this game. And the nice thing, since there's no designated hitter, we can use our pitcher as a hitter in the lineup. Looks like by default it's put him into the number 3 slot, and if I look at his hitting ratings again, you see he's got 41, 43. That's contact and power. Definitely want to have him near the top of the lineup. But I usually, for the very top spot, I'll put Yabe, the sidekick. I've leveled him up pretty high, 57 contact, 56 power, and also on his base running speed, he has 75 speed, plus the abilities. You see that light blue ability on the bottom left third row. That ability gives him head first slides anytime he's going into a base. So that's going to make him real dangerous on the base path. Another reason I have him leading off is if you look at that red F ability on the top row to the top left, that ability means he's bad when runners are in scoring position. So really you want to get this guy on base first, and then you want to use your created character and also your other rival players to help drive in that run. Since this is just the first game, my created character isn't leveled up very highly yet, so I'll probably use my rival character for the 2, and let's see if we can get Tachikawa in here. What is she? 36, 36 on contact and power. I bet you that's better than my standard third baseman. Yeah, it definitely is. So we'll put her in third base, and we'll slide her up in the lineup. She's actually better than my created character. But again, I have to take in consideration that she is on a negative condition. So that's going to drop some of her stats a little bit. I think even with that negative condition, she'll still be better than my created character starting out. So I'm pretty solid in the 1 through 4 slots. Let's see if I have any good computer players that were just the generic ones. This guy's got a 3 trajectory, 15 contact, 23 power. That's not bad for a generic. Okay, this guy's good contact. I also want to have him out there. 2021, that's solid. Now we're getting into the real scrubs at the bottom. So, you know, down through the number 7 spot, I should be able to get hits with any of those people. Let's see if I got any pinch hitters that are good. 21-14, and he has second base eligibility. Let me look at my second baseman, because I believe he wasn't very good. Yeah, so this second baseman, definitely I need to sub him out for the other guy. And let's just make sure that the fielding ratings aren't too bad. Okay, so this guy plays second base at a F. That's going to be solid. I think we're going to be good. Let's see Tachigawa. What was her third base ability? She's an F, so that's alright. We'll go ahead and start this game up with this lineup. This is the best I can do. And 1 through 4 are going to be solid. 5 through 7 we might be able to get a hit. And then 8 and 9 I'm probably going to struggle. So right away I see that the weather for this game is sunny and looks like there's not much wind either. That's definitely a bonus for my team because I don't have great fielding, and I've played some of these games where it's rainy and the wind can be like a 9-mile-an-hour crosswind. And if you have bad outfielders that can really mess with fly balls, you'll have a hard time tracking them down. And also the rain seems to produce more errors whenever you're fielding. So since I don't have a great defensive team, it's definitely going to help me out that this is just a sunny game with good conditions. This is the warm-up sequence. You get 3 warm-up pitches, and I definitely recommend doing them just to get used to the timing, because each pitcher has different timing depending on the animation of their delivery. You see my pitcher, he's only got a fastball, 4-seam, and he's got a changeup, so I'm going to have a hard time just varying these pitches to keep the computer off balance, because they do pick up on your tendencies if you're just alternating fastball, changeup, so you got to switch it up a little bit. Now you saw what it just did. It simulated a head, and one of the batters got a hit during the simulation, and then it put me back in control. So usually when they have base runners, they will put you in control, put you on the mound. And there's the downside of having a generic catcher. You see that changeup got by him. So if I win this game, this guy right here is a catcher. So I can definitely upgrade that position by winning this game. Hopefully I'll pull it out. I looked at his stats earlier and he wasn't great at hitting. He's mainly a defensive specialist. You see, if you look next to the nameplate, he has the top nameplate. He's got an F for contact, a D for power, and an F for speed. So he's really more for defense and offense. You get him easily on the strikeout with the changeup. The way the simulations work is they'll let you pitch the first inning, and they'll let you hit the first inning, and then the 9th inning they usually let you hit, and then the in-between innings, like, it really depends on how the game is going. If you get out to a big lead, then they're going to simulate a lot of the innings and you won't play much. Conversely, if the other team gets out on top of you, if they get an early lead, it's not going to let you pitch much, but it will still let you hit a whole lot. So that's where it helps to have those computer tendencies bought. I don't have any bought at the moment. There's Yabe making use of that 75 speed to run out the throw. One thing you can do to increase your base running speed with anybody is just mash the left and right bumpers or left and right triggers. And that helps on stealing too. Let's see if I can steal second. Oh, just got in there. So there you see again that head first slide. Not everybody has that animation. That's just a special ability that Yabe has. Definitely want to know your abilities before you head into a game, otherwise I probably wouldn't have tried to go for that steal with only 75 speed. We leg out another infield single. You saw while they were running the bases, the little orange icons, the orange arrows, those were vibrating. That's just letting you know that the left and right triggers, that speed boost is working. So it looks like the computer is going to walk me. I'm just going to sit here. Oh, they actually threw it down the middle. Maybe they changed their mind. Okay, so they're getting serious now. Let's see what they do. Nah, just messing with me. Just getting that pitch count up. Oh. Is that gone? Oh, wow. I was not expecting that, especially on a slider. It's tough to hit those sliders, but I got lucky. You saw the little white flash after the point of contact. That indicates that you've hit the sweet spot of the bat. Now, one thing that probably helped me get that, just because I don't have great ratings with my created character, you saw he kind of had a blue aura around him. That's one of the abilities activating. I'm not sure which one it was. It's probably one that my coach has, because that created character doesn't have any abilities yet. It's got to be something with the coach, or it could be that the pitcher that was throwing, the pitcher might have an ability that makes him bad when runners are in scoring position. That's got to be what triggered the blue aura and gave me the extra boost to my power on that hit, because I was not expecting to hit that out. Yeah, the best pitch of this guy is definitely his fastball coming in at 141. You see the changeup. Well, I get lucky that went foul. You saw how slow my generic fielder was there at first base. Those generic guys are real terrible, and you want to replace them as soon as possible. Wow, so okay, it's simulated way past that game. Usually the games don't go this quick, but man, that was a super quick simulation. And it's because we got the big lead. You saw we got out in front 4-0, and then we went to pitch the next inning. We shut them down the next inning. And now we're into the part where, since we beat this guy, we're just saying, hey, why don't you come join my team since you were playing with a bunch of scrubs? We got some good people on our side. And we'll be able to use this guy as a catcher in our next game. And then in the future, once we get knocked out of this tournament, we'll have to decide, do we want to take him, or do we want to take some other people with our 2 slots that we have available? You never know, maybe unlocking him gave me a 3rd slot, but I doubt it, because I just unlocked that 2nd slot for my rival players. I just unlocked that yesterday. So I doubt this victory is going to give me the 3rd slot this yet. Probably going to have to win a couple more. So now it's just showing the different categories and the amount of experience points that we got in each category. This stuff will only go towards our created character. And again, because I have my coach Haruka, you see we got extra items. I got 4 items total. If you just have a coach without that ability she has, you'll usually only get 1 item. All the rival players I'd used have received some experience points. The only one that's got enough to level up was Tachigawa. And now we're going to bring this catcher onto our team. I can use him in the next game, and he'll just be added right onto my roster. But once I lose a game and get kicked out of the tournament, he'll go into that screen where you have to choose which ones you want to pick. So I can, right now, until I lose, I can use him as much as I want. And he's the first catcher that I've unlocked, so that will definitely be helpful. Especially the computer does like to steal bases when they have quick people on the base path. Now it's day 2 of the festival, and again, the first thing you want to do after every game, you want to go back to the player growth screen, and you want to put as many points as you can into your created character. Can't put any points into your rival characters, those just grow automatically, but you do have to manually grow your created character. And again, I would focus on contact, but I think I'm going to put 1 in trajectory just to get that up. And then I'll put some in power. And then we'll put the rest in contact, since that's a pretty cheap category. get that up to about 40. And let's see if we can boost that power up into at least 43. That'll be good. Okay, and we'll put some in run speed. We got to get some speed up for sure. This will help while we're running on the bases and in the field. And put the last of this in the air resistance. So we've got a pretty well-rounded character now. He can hit, he can run, and he's not going to commit too many errors. He's going to be fine out there. And I want to go check real quick and just see if Tachikawa learned a new pitch or maybe upgraded one of her pitches. Okay, so the ball that's thrown to the bottom left, which is some kind of curveball, that one went up a tick mark. It was at 3, it's now at 4. So as you level up your pitchers, not only will her existing pitches grow, but she'll also learn new pitch types just on her own. You see that one to the right with the H, that's a hard slider. When I first got her, she didn't have that pitch at all, but as I leveled her up, she just automatically learned that hard slider. And it started out at level 1 tick mark, but now it's, as I gotten her even higher and higher on the levels, she's got 4 tick marks on the hard slider and 4 on that diagonal curveball to the left. So and the good thing is, since I rested her the last game, she should be in pretty good condition. Let's go ahead and let's check the next game real quick. And I'm not actually going to play another one, but I just want to show you how the levels go higher once you get into the second round. You see we were in the 30s the last time, and now we're into the high 40s, low 50s for all these characters. None of these guys I have played before, so it's going to be a new experience. But I've already showed you one game, and this video is running a little long, so I won't get into another one. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what happens when you lose, since I showed you what happened when you win. And then I'll go through that stuff and translate some of those screens. So after you get eliminated from the tournament, the next thing you can do is you can upload the created character that you were just working on onto the servers, and then anybody can download him and can use him inside the success mode or inside the season mode. If I just hit OK, it's going to go ahead and upload him. It's going to give a code that I'll need to save and input later. So we'll save that for last, and we'll go through some of these other options. This one here is just going to be the profile editor, which is all the information you see to the right side of the screen. If I click this first one, this is the name editor. It just takes us back to that same menu we were in when we first started the mode, if you want to change the name information. Option number 2 is whether you live in Japan or whether your player is from overseas. Option number 3 is basically deciding between the different levels of education, high school, college, and college graduate. Neither of these really matter that much. This one you might want to change. This is the uniform number, if you want to change that, and then at the very bottom is the date of birth. One thing about the way it's set up in Japanese, this number is going to be the month, and this one is going to be the day, and this is the year. After the profile, the next thing you can change is the face. It's got a ton of options here that we can change, like skin color. This one is going to change the haircut, and then eyebrows, and you can change the eyes as well. I won't go through all of these. It's all pretty self-explanatory if you want to change the appearance. After that, we got another chance to change the batting stance if you didn't like the one you were using when you were actually playing with him. This next one is going to give us one final chance to upgrade the attributes in our player. This is just the last bit of experience that we received from that game we lost. Now the final option is called growth rate, and this applies to the success mode and season mode. It's basically how quickly your player will develop. The middle option is just a normal average rate of development, and then the two above this are going to be quicker rates of development, so you'll level up a lot quicker. But on the downside, your player will reach his peak performance quicker, and then he'll have a sharp decline very early in his career. So this is the again normal, this is a slightly faster learner, and this is the fastest learner with also the fastest decline in his career. And then going below that, we've got the slower learner, which means he'll be slower to reach his peak, but also his career will last longer. And this is the slowest possible learner with the longest possible career. So I just set it on the default setting, and then I don't worry about it that much. So that's everything. If you want to upload your player, you just hit OK. I don't actually want to upload them because I've already got one on the server, so I'll hit no. Again, it's just asking me if I want to upload them to the servers. If I did, I'd hit over to the left and I'd hit yes, but I don't want to upload them, so I'll hit no. And these are the points that I earned from playing the mode. These can be used to purchase items from the in-game shop if I wanted to. Most of those items affect either the success mode or there's things that I can use in that powerful festival. This is where the shop is located. I won't show it right now. But that's pretty much everything for Powerful Festival. I think it's a cool mode. I just wish the gameplay options had a little more things that you could tweak. Like I wish I could have at least a little bit of cursor assist. I think the hitting in this game with the PlayStation 4 controller is just too hard with no assist on. And also I wish they'd let you change the pitching cursor where you could have a little less on the screen and only see the outline of the circle instead of having that white background with the white baseball kind of messing up. Those are the two things I wish I could change. Other than that, it's still a fun diversion. It's something you can play in between playing the pennant mode or exhibition or online play. Just something real quick, since most of the innings are simulated. You can get in and out of a game anywhere between 5 to 10 minutes. Usually they don't go longer than 10 minutes. So I definitely recommend trying this. See if you like it. And if you do, there's a lot of depth there, a lot of characters to unlock. Not just that you can use inside that mode, but you can also use these characters that you unlock in the success mode and season mode. So hopefully this helped you figure out how to play it, and in the future I'll be doing some more tutorials. I still want to do a tutorial for the season mode, but this is a really long and a lot of options to go through, so it may take some time to get it up, but rest assured I'll have it up eventually. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys later.